A bigger play. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the barbershop. Thank you so much for being here. Happy April Fool's Day. Be kind to your friends. Don't hurt nobody. But this is not a joke. This is the March 2023 OU Scarlet and Violet usage stats for Smogon Showdown. Call it what you want to call it. And we've got some crazy tier changes and movements. And Great Tusk is still number one. And what I want to do for you guys right now is I'm going to compare the March usage stats to the February usage stats. A video I did a few weeks ago. Haven't watched that? Go watch it. But let's get right into this. Let's go. Well, now, as you can see, we have the graphic up here. Great Tusk is still number one. We'll talk all about the movements. I want to, like I said, compare it to the February usage stats. And over here, of course, I do have the other Pokemon that didn't quite make OU and are still in UU. The cutoff, as you can see here, is 4.52% cutoff before becoming UU if you're not above 4.52% usage stat. On the OU ladder, you are in UU. Now over here, of course, we do have these Scarlet and Violet tier changes for April. We have rises, we have drops, we have crazy stuff going on here. So again, I'm gonna have this other graphic, boom, ready to pull up for you guys from February, and we'll kind of do a comparison. I'll kind of give you my thoughts, but I'm gonna move kind of quickly. Don't want to waste your time on this one. So right off the bat, as you can see, Great Tusk is still almost the exact same usage percent, number one. It is ridiculous. Is that a Great Tusk / Lando T hybrid combo back here? What is that doing? What is that? You guys see that? You guys see that right there? Who did this? Who did that? Who did that? Well, I did a video called Great Tusk versus Lando T, the battle for OU supremacy. If you have not watched it, please go watch it, comment, drop a like. Love you all so much. 55.7% usage for Great Tusk when previously almost 57. So dropped 1% in usage. No surprise there. It's still doing the same thing, spinning, rocking, knocking off, quaking and blasting and destroying everything, right? Still got so many great movesets it can run. It deserves to be on a lot of teams. It's one of the best, if not the best ground type. I mean, you guys know what it is. Still number one by a mile, well over 50% of all teams. 57 dropping down to 55.6. So King Gambit now number two at almost 40%. 39.16% King Gambit. Guys, I've been saying the thing could almost be suspect tested for a ban. What was it before? Oh, I gotta keep doing this clicky thing, but number three. Okay, it was at 29.59 and now it is at 39. It went up by a whole 10% usage. People know how powerful King Gambit is, and I think King Gambit, if I was reading here on Smogon, I believe King Gambit is the number one most used Pokemon in national decks as well. So the thing is very powerful. It could be suspect tested. Iron Valiant now number three at 30.54%, guys. Iron Valiant, what a monster. I love this Pokemon. I think it's got a great design. I love its typing. I love everything you can do with it. The most versatile most versatile Pokemon ever. What was it before? I think it was fifth at 23.17. It also increased by a solid 7%. So King Gambit, Iron Valiant, we know. I think I started that. Just kidding. Everybody knows how good they all are. It's funny to see so many fighting types up here. Fighting are 1 and 3. Crazy times. Goldango has dropped from the number 2 spot down to the number 4 spot, but not by a very large. Is it a large margin? He's now at 27.35% usage. It was a very large margin. It was before he was 41.5%, almost half of all teams. What a wild animal, Goldango. It's still so good. It's definitely, I don't see it dropping out of top 10. I think if it did start to drop down lower, then it would pop back up, because if it's not on every team, people are going to start using it again because it counters so much. It's got such that good ability. But it did drop by what, 14% in usage, so very significant. I think King Gambit kind of replaced it, and everybody knows just how powerful King Gambit is. Iron Valiant also picked up a lot there, so that's kind of taking Goldango's place. But Dragapult, I think, did increase, right? Look, number 5 in usage, 23.5%. That's almost a quarter of all teams. Still so good. The number 1 Dragon type, even above Dragonite and Roaring Moon, coming in at 6 and 7 respectively. Let's take a peek at the other. Dragapult actually dropped 1 in usage. It's still these same top 5, right? Still the same top 5 that just kind of shuffled around, did a little dance. 24.8 for Pult, and now 23. So he dropped about 5%, but they're just, they're just mixing it up. It's just mixing it up. Still the same top 5. Still the same top 5. Nothing to be too surprised at there, except Great Tusk is just so dominant. Battle for OU Supremacy, go watch it. Dragonite and then Dragapult, or excuse me, Roaring Moon here. Knight, I think 20.27% is almost realistic because of how good and amazing it is with still that Noob Cannon, E-Speed, Terra Normal Banded set. Of course, if you're not running that, you can be running the Heavy Duty Boots DD set and Terra Fire and Terra Fairy or Terra Steel with Roost is great. 27 or 20.27%, and previously it was so it picked up 2 percentage points here, moved from 7 up to 6. So Dragonite increasing in usage. You know who we don't see in the top 10 anymore? Who called it? This guy. This guy called it. Rotom Wash. What were you doing here? Rotom Wash at 20.35%, number 6. It is no longer even on. Wait, that's February. Yeah. It is no longer even on the top 10. In fact, it is all the way down here at number 19, folks. Rotom Wash at number 19 actually has 10.62%. The thing fell off almost entirely. Don't know why. Still a great Pokemon. I mean, that's significant drop. Maybe it was the Walking Wake at number 14, by the way. Yeah, but Wash made a very significant drop all the way down. Like I said, 10.6% when previously it was at 20. So it dropped to 10% usage points. I don't know what was going on here, guys. It deserves to be on teams. Maybe 10-15% makes sense for Rotom. That's still a lot, but that's way more like it. But D-Knight still very similar, moves up 1, picks up 2 percentage points in usage. Volcarona was previously at number 8 at 17.5% usage. Now Volcarona is way down here at 13. Well, dropped 5 positions and is now a 15.3% use. So it dropped about 2 percentage points in usage. Not too big of a deal for Volcarona. Still amazing Pokemon. Nothing has changed. This thing can still click Quiver Dance and sweep your entire team. Where's Dondozo? At number 30. Dondozo at number 30. What are you doing all the way down there? At 7.8%. Love to see it dropping. What was it previously? 26. So it dropped a little bit, which is good news for most people because the thing is such an annoying, monstrous threat. Rounding out the top 10, we'd had in February a Hatterene at 17% and Corviknight at 16.2. At 9 and 10, Hatterene and Corv. And now we have Hatterene dropping 1 percentage and very similar usage stat. Still 17-18 percentage there. Number 10, Hatterene, great Pokemon, one of the best psychic types, phenomenal fairy type up here with Iron Valiant. These are the 2 best fairy types. I mean, Azu is also there. All the fairy types are so good, guys. So good. But Meowscarada, baby. Surprise, surprise. Nobody's surprised. I just did a video yesterday or the day before. This is why Meowscarada is the best Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet. The Bandit set is so scary, you guys. It's just so fast. The 123 speed is so troll. It outspeeds all the other starters, the fastest starter of all time. And it's Sucker Punch, U-turn from momentum. Dark type is great. The Protean is still good, and it hits so hard with like a flower trick, always critting through things that like to set up physically, especially with a choice band. You can be focus sashed. You guys already know what it does. Knockoff is so exclusive these days. They really tried to make it very powerful. And speaking of the starters, I'm gonna take a moment here. RIP Quaquaval. Let's look over here at the tier changes for April. Quack did not quite make it. It did drop from OU down to UU. Quaquaval, where are you? You are 38. So the cutoff is here, number 36 at Iron Treads, 4.7%. Quack did not, just barely make it, just 2 out. So guys, it's not getting the love it deserves, but I understand because there are so many bulky things that either check it defensively, like Dozo, like Pex, like Rotom, like Azu, like Mungus, etc. Or things that offensively counter it and outspeed it, like Iron Valiant, just OHKOing it. But guys, that's kind of almost good news for Quaquaval. It's going to destroy in the OU tier. I think it's going to get banned to BL. And when you do use it in OU, people aren't going to be expecting it. It's going to catch you off guard. Great Pokemon. One of the only very few spinners. It's a spinner. It gets Swords Dance, Bulk Up, Roost. U-turn and the Aqua Step Moxie combo is just a free Dragon Dance for days. So the guy is an absolute monster if he wants to be called a guy. Nobody knows what's going on with this wild animal. But it did drop to UU. Tell me what you think about that. I think it's phenomenal. I don't think it's much worse than Meowscarada or Skeledirge. Both, all the starters are so good, you guys. I think these might be the three most powerful set of starters we've ever received. But he dropped. Speaking of drops, let's just go ahead and keep talking about the drops since we already covered the top 10 in usage. Decidueye, it did drop. It did drop. I said it may stay in OU, but probably not, you guys. Probably not. It, like I said in my Decidueye breakdown video, it just does not excel. It does not excel anywhere. It is the only Pokemon with Defog and Knockoff plus Roost and U-turn. Really cool tech, but it just doesn't have the stats. The typing is cool. The typing is there, but look at these monsters. Just look at these monstars, baby. Absolutely, there's nothing it can do. It just gets blow code by all of them. Goodbye. All of them destroyed. So it makes sense that it would drop, and it may even drop to RU. Who knows? Who knows? You have to really terrestrialize it for it to be super effective. I mean, you can use it as a spin blocker, but what can it do? What can it do? It can U-turn out and knock you off, and then it dies. So that's cool. There are more offensive things and scarier things and better defensive checks. So, and who needs a defogger when you have Hatterene on every team? Am I right? A spinner right here. Great test. Okay. Also, Iron Leaves didn't quite make it. How far are you? How far down are you, Mr. Leaves? How far down are you? Iron Leaves. Oh my goodness. Iron Thorns. You can't be this low. No, I must have missed it. Must have missed it. Iron Treads, Iron Hugulus, Iron Leaves, here it is, right next to Hands. Almost the same, 2.15% usage. You're not seeing any Iron Leaves. You're not seeing any Iron Hands either. You're just not seeing it. Iron Jugs almost made it. Sandy Shocks, all these Paradox Pokemon barely did not make it. Poltegeist on the rise. Screamtail on the rise. Iron Treads dropped though. It's at 36 now. The last Pokemon to cut off an OU with a 4.7% usage, when previously I think it was like 26 or something, right around here, 28. So it's dropped. It dropped. But Iron Treads I think is great, guys. Iron Treads is the only steel ground type. Phenomenal Pokemon, really great with knockoff and great spinner and volt switch, things like this, great rocker. And it checks some of the good, it checks things like Goldango. It can eat hits from Dragapult, Iron Valiant, well, not really Iron Valiant, but it checks a lot of things, you guys. Hatterene, Corviknight, kind of, but it depends how you build it, but it deserves its place in OU, I'll say that. And hey, it fits well on rain teams, etc. Big drops here. Pelipper is number 31 here in February. And I believe now, yeah, it dropped. Didn't it drop to UU? Yeah, Pelipper dropped to UU. Can you believe it? Where are we, Pelipper? 41 at 3.04%. So rain is slowly kind of falling off, but I'm telling you guys, we may see this come April usage stats dropping in May. We may see Pelipper back up in OU. You never know, because when things drop, people think, oh, no one sees this, remembers this tech. They use it, it terrorizes, it comes back. It's all over YouTube. People are like, oh, bring it back. So we may see some of these guys pop back up. Quaco Vault, Decidueye, and Iron Thorns may not come back up, but I think Pelipper eventually will. Let's keep moving on. Corviknight is now number 11, not in the top 10 anymore. At 17.13%, still phenomenal for Corviknight, just out of the top 10. It deserves to be there. It's one of the best physical checks in walls in the game. Previously, I believe it was number 9 here, or number 10 at 16. So it actually increased in usage. Where'd it go? Increased in usage at 17.1 and 60. So it increased, but it just fell out of the top 10. It was Meowscarada that went from 12 up to 9, and it really picked up a lot more usage. And so it is what it is. I can't stand seeing this. Number 12 is Glamora, and previously it was lower at 17. I don't want to talk about it anymore. That's disgusting. You guys stop. If you see this video, stop using Glamora. Stop it right now. Garganacl previously was, and there's Cuphead, and Garganacl was 13, and Roaring Moon made a big move. Roaring Moon was 14 in February, and now Roaring Moon is 7. People are, wait, this game's been out, what, 5 months now? You're just not realizing how good Roaring Moon is? Am I the drama? Am I wrong? I don't think so. I've been telling you guys. Drop a sub and a like right now, because your boy, I'm just ahead of the game. Hey, bless the Lord. Praise the Lord. He put me ahead of the game. Cinderace, what's going on here? Okay, let's look at Walking Wake. We know Walking Wake was very low last time because it dropped last month. So Walking Wake was number 14. We'll have to see if that rises or falls when the April stats drop in May. Interesting. Volcarona, like I said, is 13 now with a 15.3% usage stat. And then just below it is its future brethren in Iron Moth at 13. So very close, just below. I understand people liking to use Volcarona a little bit more because it does have the Quiver Dance. But Iron Moth is still so good. Let's take a peek at February. Iron Moth was much lower at 20, so it has increased significantly. Volcarona has dropped. It was number 8 in February, and now it is number 13. So significant there. Rotom, like I said, has fallen down to where it deserves to be at 19 instead of number 6, or where it was last month. Crazy. Let's see. Cinderace is now at 16. Cinderace is now at 16 at 11, almost 12%, 11.89% for Cinderace. Good for you. You're beating out Greninja significantly. Hey, that's pretty significant. Let's look here. Cinderace is 16 and Greninja at 34 most used Pokemon. And in February, Cinderace was, where's Cinderace? 23 and Greninja was 24. They were brethren right there next to each other, back to back. Here at 23 and 24. Greninja dropped, Cinderace rose up. Hey, what are you gonna do? I'm surprised to see that. Let's see, Torkoal was 27, and I'm just looking at fire types here. And Cinderace was 23. Dirge was 16. Moth, and then Volk. Those are your main fire types. This guy, I think he dropped, right? Didn't drop? Wait, it probably got the rise in usage because that video the boys did. Crazy. Dirge at 16, now Dirge at 23. Dirge dropping all the way down to an 8.9% usage. That's crazy for me. I think Dirge, I mean, that's almost 9%, but I think Dirge is good enough where it could be top 15 at least. Top 20 at least, maybe. It's just such a good special. Its typing is so good. Give it heavy duty boots or leftovers. Still a great terrestrializer and even a great sweeper with the torch song, right? Give it throat spray or specs or something. It's so scary. Slack off is so good, and recovery is so rare these days. Nothing even here on gets recovery anymore. Roost, nothing. Roost, Morning Sun. Nothing. Recovery's so rare. I mean, this gets recovered, but Cuphead fell significantly to 24. That is Ting Lu. Previously, it was all the way up here at 11. Big drop for Ting Lu. I'm telling you guys. Great Pokemon, but Clodsire, the premier ground type, after Great Tusk. Make sure that's accurate. Yeah, second most used ground type now is Clodsire with a nice raise all the way up to 11.09%. Orthworm, can you believe it, at 17, just below Cinderace, who took a nice leap. Orthworm, 11.68%. Where were you previously, Orthworm? You were not on. You were 29. A big jump for Orthworm. People are discovering how good of a defensive check it is to things like Baxcalibur. Baxcalibur can't touch it. That's why I like to kind of run a Baxcalibur with Choice Band Brick Break to hit Orthworm. Maybe at 2 hit KOs it. It's close. But yeah, crazy stuff. As you see, Clodsire moved up from 22 to 18. Where's Pex? Now we're looking at Pex. Pex was 21 before, and now Pex is still 21. Insane. Pex is staying right there at number 21. Lucky 21 for Pex at almost 10%, 9.7%. How about Garchomp? Chomp dropped, right? Chomp dropped down to 27th at 8.5% usage for Garchomp. That's kind of surprising to me. I thought we'd see actually a rise in Garchomp. 27, and previously he was 19. Interesting, and especially with the banishment of the Ice Fang Cat, he made a nice little drop. That's kind of crazy. Let's look at Amoonguss too while we're at it. Amoonguss at 25 in February is now 29. Amoonguss did a little drop ski too at a 7.9% usage. Hey, that makes sense. Amoonguss is great, but It's great. You know, it's not a very big drop. Just fell a couple spots. It's just that other things, Meowscarada and a few other things moved up a little bit. Good for you, Mungi. Still doing the same thing. Still putting things to sleep. Still sporing and clear smogging and foul playing and giga draining and going absolutely crazy. So while we're here, let's look over here at the rises. Number 32, Slow King, coming up from OU at 32 now with a 6.4% usage stat. I think people, it's just such a good special wall. It loves to come in and get up a future sight, and then that chilling reception basically acts as like a weather nullifier, because people aren't really running sun teams. You're not seeing Titan. You're not seeing things that take advantage of the snow. I said sun, I meant snow teams. But it's really it acts like a good way to counter sun, to counter rain, to counter sand. And I'm still surprised that we're not seeing Tyranitar in OU, because I feel like people have been using it more. It's still such a good Pokemon. It's got to just barely be missing the cutoff, right? Oh my gosh. 1.8 for T-Tar? Hard to believe. That's just right next to Pincurchin. That's less than Magnezone. I think you got your numbers mixed up here, Smogon. I don't think that's less than Blissey and Brute Bonnet and Iron Lee. I just don't believe it. I think T-Tar deserves to be an OU. I think it's just, I mean, it's better than a lot of these guys, right? Maybe even this guy. I mean, maybe this guy. Hydreigon at 31%, at 31 and a 6.8% usage stat. That makes sense to me. Low OU. I could see it being UUBL. What was it previously? Hydreigon was 34, so still the very bottom, just above Quack. And guys, the Armarouge is Rogue Rouge is hanging in there. It was 36 previously, and now Armarouge is 35, just hanging in there by the skin of its metal shoulder pads. At 4.7%, just above the cutoff to UU, and that, like I said, the very end of the cutoff here for UU 36 is Treads. I think Treads will stay OU. If it drops to UU, that's crazy. I definitely think come February or May, the April usage stats, I think Rouge will be dropping down. I think Greninja will raise back up. Interesting to see Breloom at 33. I think it'll stick around at OU, just about 5% usage stat for Breloom, when previously Breloom was number 32. So still down there, or hanging out, chilling with Hyde, around 5% usage. So that's good. It's still one of the best like Mach Punchers, like the only Mach Puncher, the only grass fighting type. Gets Spore. It's really good Pokemon, guys. I think Breloom deserves a little more love, but I mean, when you kind of try to compare it to these insane bangers, this top 10, these top 15, Baxcalibur, it was 15 in February, number 15. Baxcalibur is now number 8. Number 8. Baxcalibur going crazy McBrazy. Look at all these dragons. Dragon. Hey, I didn't start it unless you go back 2 months ago and watch my Mono Dragon video where I destroy the ladder with Mono Dragons in the middle of the Chien Pao suspect test. Hey, not saying I'm goated, but you guys got to go watch these videos and like them. I don't know what you're waiting on, but hey, I'm just pages and pages and pages ahead. But Dragonite is there. Baxcalibur is at 18.5% usage stats. I love Baxcalibur. It deserves to be on almost every team. It could eventually probably get suspect tested. I think if anything deserves to get suspect tested, it may be King Gambit, maybe Iron Valiant. I don't think Goldengo will, or they would have already done it already. Dragapult will not. It's too frail and get picked off by Nice Shard. Baxcalibur, I think it may be even one of the, if not the best pseudo legendary we've ever received. I said it right now. But we'll have to see. Hey, we'll have to see after Pokemon Home drops very soon, probably within maybe in April. If it's May, I'll be surprised, but it may be May. But guaranteed within 2 months, we will have Pokemon Home and a lot more Pokemon coming in. Things like Heatran are going to be very scary. Obviously, Lando is going to be very crazy. Zapdos coming in is going to just change everything, right? So Guys, it's going to be very crazy. I think Zapdos will be a good check to maybe King Gambit. A lot of things. Great Tusk, goodbye. Dragonite, no more E-Speeds, baby. You're going to get full paired. Zapdos is going to come in and poop on the meta. Here comes Meowscarada. I mean, Zapdos poops on everything. I can't wait. Goodbye, Corviknight. It was fun while it lasted. Yeah, Zapdos says goodnight to everything, so I cannot wait to start slapping that mon on every team again. It's one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. Let's see. What else do we have here? Azumarill in March is now 25th. At a 8.7, healthy 8.72%, just below Ting Lu at 8.9. And previously in February, Azumarill was 33. Azumarill on the rise. Azumarill bandwagon. Been with you since day one, Azu, since the Belly Jet tech came out. Love to see that. Love to see Azu. Ceruledge at 28. Very interesting. A great Pokemon. 8.118% for Ceruledge. Just below Garchomp. Just below Garchomp. Insanity. And you know what also is insanity? This Hisuian Zoroark at 26. Not falling off, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think it should. I think it's so fast at that 110 speed. Set up on both sides. Power on both sides. So frail. Like one of the probably the frailest Pokemon up here in OU. But hey, you catching things off guard, you play it right. People love to use it, but it may drop off. It's still a new toy, We'll have to see. I don't think it was even on here previously. Yeah, because it dropped. It dropped recently. I don't think did it drop in March? It may have dropped in March. So interesting. We'll have to see where that goes next month. Hisuian Zoroark, 26. At an 8.68% usage stat. Torkoal is now at 22 with a 9.43. Tells you where Sun is. That is above Pelipper, which dropped. So Sun is clearly far and away the most used weather or terrain. Pelipper's down in OU, T-Tar's down in UU, T-Tar's in UU. Crazy, crazy times. Who are we missing? Oh, Garganacl. Number 20. And Garganacl has a 10.4% usage stat, still in over 10% of the teams, just below Rotom Wash. That's interesting. That has to be a drop, right? It had to be higher than 20 last time. Yeah, it was at 13. It was at 13 last month. So we're seeing Big Garg drop a little bit. Meowscarada rise. We're seeing Ting Lu drop. It looks like we're turning even more hyper offense because Corviknight's dropping, Rotom's dropping. Things like this, Meowscarada coming up, right? So it looks like the meta is shifting towards even more hyper offense, just dragon meta right now. Where are the fairies? That's why we see the rise of fairies. Hatterene dropped a little bit, but Valiant up, Azu up. Walking Wake is 14, Insanity. Well, so we got Rotom, we talked about that. We talked about everything just about. Crazy that Dirge is dropping a little bit. Love Dirge. Amoonguss. Ceruledge is great, man. It's hanging in there. Yeah, I think we talked about all of them. But anyway, Slowking, like I said, moved up. Haxorus got out of the RUBL. What were you doing down there? I think Haxorus deserves to be almost up in OU. It can definitely be used in OU because of that Mold Breaker ability, which breaks through all the unaware Pokemon, especially sets up a Swords Dance or a Dragon Dance, and it can Terrastalize right into a Fairy type and thing, or even like a Grass or an Electric type. Because if you want to bring in your Dondozo or your unaware Skeledirge, or if you have unaware Clodsire, it could just still kill you with an Earthquake or an Outrage or whatever it wants to go for because Mold Breaker ignores unaware. So great Pokemon Haxorus. I'm happy that you slid up a little bit. Rotom Heat and Alomomola moving up to UU. That would be over here. I don't want to pull that open, but Alomomola, you're seeing that a lot on like stall teams. Very annoying Pokemon to deal with. Very, very annoying on stall. Get out of here, Alomomola. And then what's really interesting is to see both of the bulls, both Paldea and Tauros, fire and water type, have moved up to UU. You see them even use, I haven't been playing much UU at all, or like really any, but it's really cool to see them used in OU. I think this is the only fire and fighting type. Now, obviously Quaquaval, I think there may maybe even another water fighting type, or maybe it's the only one, but this is the only fire fighting type, I believe, which is interesting tech. It's cool to see that even being used above, I think, Arcanine maybe, another fire intimidator, but I like Arcanine. This thing's got a weakness in flying and psychic, etc., and doesn't fully resist fairy, but Really cool to see these guys move up to UU. I think they've got really cool designs, and they moved up together. So you do see this water bulky guy and used in OU a lot, especially on like rain teams or a check to rain teams even. Moving down here, NUBL to RU, Sid Titan moved up, and then NU to RU. The Moth, Frostmoth, Wizcash, oh boy, the Soar, what is this guy's name? Steel Soar, Kufon's evolution. And then, of course, your Abomasnow is in RU now. Crazy. Drops, okay, in PUBO, we have the Dancer. You have the Dancing Bird moving up to NU. And really cool to see from PU to NU, Rotom Frost. That's always where he's at. It's always where he's at. Even after boots, it still didn't help him. I think it's a really cool, like, bulky nasty plot user with the Bolt Beam. But you gotta click Blizzard. Really cool to see this. Hisuian Zorua, the baby version, moving up to NU. So those mind games in that point in that normal ghost type. Catching things off guard, guys. Really cool Pokemon. The drops, on the other hand, we talked about OU down to UU. We're seeing Lycanroc Dusk dropping to RU. I did a video on him a few days ago. He just destroyed OU. So, guys, it just depends how you use them, how you build them. Swords Dance with him, Banded with him, really hard-hitting. Accelerock checks things really hard. Indeedee dropping to RU, which is crazy because you would think you would see more of that Psychic Terrain team with those kind of troll teams, but maybe that's getting a little outdated, antiquated. You're seeing the old boy, the past Paradox Amoonguss, Ungabungus, and whatever this thing is, whatever this Pokemon's name is, dropping to RU, and you're seeing actually Barrascuda and the Water Buizel drop down to NU, saying what's happening to Rain, and same thing with Charizard. This is crazy. All these weather abusers are dropping to NU instead of RU, and even Florges down here in NU. That's absolutely nonsense. I just used a video where I destroyed everybody in OU with Calm Mind Florges. It's so good, guys. So mix it up. Don't be afraid to use these Pokemon that are in a little bit lower of a tier. You terrestrialize them, you counter the meta. People don't know how to handle these guys, right? That's why we build these heat builds, right? You bring in a Pokemon from NU or for RU with the right tech. Look at this. It's a fairy type. It can shut down all of OU, right? You can bring a defensive set and turn into a ghost type or a fire type with your Terra with Calm Mind like I was doing, blowing everything back. I mean, just sweeping kids. Sweeping these kids with Florges. Love this Pokemon. Anyway, other drops here in NU to PU, we don't really care that much about them. But anyway, that's about it for this, you guys. As you can see, have a good look here at all the stats and data. Here's a little more if you want to like slow down or pause if you want to see what these other Pokemon. Magnezone is down here. I can't believe how low T-Tar is. I thought T-Tar would be coming up on the rise, maybe even moving up, but we'll have to see if T-Tar ends up moving up to OU in the next drop. Masquerain, I think that rose a little bit. Slitherwing on the decline too, I think as well. Floatzel is his name. Floatzel dropped down here to NU. That doesn't make any sense to me. But that's it, you guys. Everything kind of about the same Pokemon. They just did a little shifty dance. And as we can see, Dragon meta is real. There's 4 of them in the top 10. And the Fairies are on the rise too, because we got to have something to counter all this power. Pokemon Home coming very soon. It's going to be interesting to look back on this and see where everything was when Pokemon Home drops. And all these new bangers like Landorus comeback, Zapdos, etc., guys. So let me know what you think. Please drop a like on this video. I love you so much. Drop a comment. Please drop a like, guys. I love you. See you in the next one. Take care. God bless.